Hello everyone, I'm Luca Lodi from the University of Florence. The presentation is based on the joint work with several colleagues. In our study, we examine global sustainability in an interconnected world, focusing particularly on the role of the European Union in trade and global value chain. Our research question is, how can global value chain and global production network be reconfigured to promote more equitable and sustainable development across regions? This question has become increasingly important because globalization is changing. Geopolitical tension, supply chain disruption, and environmental pressure show that sustainability and resilience can no longer be addressed separately. For the European Union, competitiveness, strategic autonomy, decarbonization, and social cohesion increasingly depend on how production is organized and governed across borders. To explore these issues, we combine four perspectives: global value chain, global production networks, global innovation system, and sustainable human development. We apply these to four case studies concerning Peru, Vietnam, and Italy across several industries. Global value chain allows us to follow the different stages of production and identify where value is added, but also where environmental and social burdens accumulate. Global innovation systems help us understand how technology, standards, and knowledge move across countries and how dominant technological pathways may create lock-ins. Global production networks broaden this perspective. They include not only firms and trade flows, but also states, workers, financial actors, territories, and the environment. These make power relations more visible. Finally, sustainable human development provides a normative perspective. It asks whether global production expands human capabilities and well-being while respecting ecological limits. From this perspective, innovation should support fair and inclusive upgrading rather than efficiency alone. Sustainability transitions are multi-scalar processes. They depend on local institutions and territorial conditions, but they are also influenced by decisions taken by multinational firms, international organizations, and global buyers. The circular economy is a useful example. Recycling, reuse, and remanufacturing can reduce environmental pressure. However, their effect depends on who controls product design, standards, procurement, and certifications. Circularity may therefore reproduce inequalities. Some regions capture innovation and higher value activities, while others receive waste, pollution, and low value processing. We describe this situation as dysfunctional circular groupings. Our framework connects the structure of value chains and production networks with global innovation system and sustainable human development. It considers five central actors: business, government, civil society, academia, and nature. This corresponds to the quintuple helix approach. We then identify three means of implementation: fair governance, transformative research and innovation, and mission-oriented investment. Empirically, we focus on three mechanisms. First, the asymmetric distribution of environmental and social cost and risk. Second, the misalignment between global standards and local capacities. Third, value capture structures controlled by lead firms, which can restrict local upgrading opportunities. These mechanisms help explain why sustainability improvement may occur without producing more equitable development. The analysis is based on interviews covering different sectors, countries, and type of actors. In Peru, we conducted 10 interviews in mining and agribusiness. Participants include business leaders, a specialized agricultural banker, former minister, and sustainability managers from major mining companies. In Vietnam, we interviewed 6 actors connected to textile, industrial governance, and coffee, including researchers, a firm manager, a representative of an industrial zone authority, and coffee farmers. The Italy-related analyses include actors from the coffee industry, academia, civil society, and international organizations. The objective is not statistical representativeness. Instead, we select actors with direct knowledge of governance, sustainability, and upgrading process in different parts of the production network. The three cases occupy different positions in global production systems. Peru is mainly specialized in upstream activities. In mining and agribusiness, sustainability policy exists, but implementation and enforcement remain uneven. Vietnam is strongly integrated into export-oriented textile and coffee chains. These sectors are influenced by buyer power, imported inputs, and efforts to promote digital and green upgrading. Italy and the European Union are positioned further downstream in the coffee chain. Roasting, blending, branding, traceability, regulation, and circular economy practices allows downstream actors to influence production practices in supplier countries. These different positions also determine who bears sustainability costs and who has the resource to invest in upgrading. Our first main result is that environmental and social pressure are distributed unevenly across production networks. In Peru, water is a central source of tension in both mining and agribusiness. Mining competes with agriculture and local communities for access to water, while pollution concerns contribute to conflict and distrust. In Vietnam coffee sectors, excessive irrigation contributes to groundwater depletion. At the same time, the intensive use of fertilizer and pesticides damages soil and water resources and threatens the long-term viability of production. The Italy coffee case highlights the consequence of monoculture in producing countries, including soil erosion, biodiversity loss, and dependence on chemical inputs. Overall, main environmental costs remain concentrated upstream, while a large share of value and decision-making power is located downstream. The second result concerns innovation and governance. Across the cases, traceability, cleaner technologies, water-saving practices, digitalization, and circularity are essential for sustainable upgrading. In Peru, agribusiness firms use drip irrigation, aquifer monitoring, biological pest control, and the reuse of water and agricultural waste. In Vietnam, textile firms are adopting automation and smart logistics, while coffee production requires more efficient irrigation and less chemically intensive farming. In the coffee chain linked to Italy, digital traceability, remote sensing, and circular solutions such as reusing coffee grounds, processing waste, and capsule can support sustainability. However, access to this innovation is uneven. Small-medium enterprises and small farmers often lack finance, infrastructure, and technical skills. Governance instruments may create a similar tension. Certification, buyer requirements, and EU rules can push firms toward better practices, but compliance costs may exclude smaller producers. They may also strengthen the control of large exporters, buyers, and lead firms over market access and upgrading opportunities. The results suggest three corresponding policy priorities. First, policies should address asymmetric cost and risk. Due diligence rules, procurement, and trade policies should ensure that environmental and social burdens are not simply transferred to weaker territories. This also requires territorial monitoring and appropriate compensation. Second, sustainability standards should be accompanied by capacity building. EU and international requirements need to be combined with finance, infrastructure, skills, and enforcement support so that smaller firms and producers can comply and upgrade. Third, policies should address lead firm control over value capture. Public funding, trade partnership, and market access could be conditioned on technology transfer, local supplier development, and a fairer distribution of value and sustainability premiums. The main message is that stronger standards are necessary, but they are not sufficient. Sustainable gold production also requires redistribution of capabilities, resources, and decision-making power. Thanks for your attention.